Welcome back, developers. Hopefully you found this series very helpful. It's an introductory series and we try to stick with the standard SQL, not being database specific. So I want to give you a couple things that you might want to look at as you progress in your database career or studies. So first off, number one, learn more about your database optimizations. Now, each database will often have some specific type of optimizations that you can do. And they may use some command that is specific to their database, or they may use some sort of command or commands that are standard to the SQL language, but the order and how they're placed and designed is unique to that database. I've seen simple optimizations where two SQL commands that do the exact same thing, one is a third the speed as the other. And so learning how to do those optimizations is very important, especially if you're using your database all the time. So learn database optimization and know that it's probably specific to your database, but there's other things that you can learn as you move around. Now, a lot of times people will learn one database and they'll stick with it. A former coworker of mine was excellent at SQL Server, and that was all he did. If you had a question with MySQL or Oracle or IBM's DB2, he could not help you with that. On the other hand, ask him almost anything you wanted to about SQL Server. He knew that product inside out. And so he was able to do all types of optimizations and scheduling and backups and all different types of things you'd have to do in order to keep those databases running optimally. So you'll need to learn and decide, hey, do I want to learn one type of database and become excellent at that? Or do I want to be just really good at several, depending upon what the product needs are? The second thing I want to talk about real quickly is we did not go deep into things like store procedures, transactions, etc. Those, once again, are often database specific. And so you're noticing a little bit of a trend here. We try to keep it generic SQL. If you want to learn something specific, you can dive into those. The good news is there's lots of information on the internet. Companies now put out all their product manuals online, so you can look up almost any product and learn about it online for a relatively low cost. Now, I do want to warn you, a lot of times those product manuals are not the most exciting reading, but they are very informative and they are a definitive source. You know you can trust them. Likewise, there's also a lot of other videos and tutorials that are out there. And if you find a good author on those, you can be well informed in that method. Finally, we did not look at a lot of unique database calls. You might say, well, what is that? Well, what I'm meaning is that a lot of databases have built-in functions you can use. Now, these are not part of the standard SQL set. They are unique to the database, and you have to learn which ones go with which database. Sometimes these functions deal with other types of dates, such as getting the current year or checking to see how many days in the future something will be. Sometimes they're going to be used for things like concatenating two fields together and join them so you can print the first and last name. So instead of having to list two individual names. There are many more types of these built-in functions that modern databases give us to make working with them so much easier. But we have to realize that, you know what? They're always unique to that database. Yes, there might be some similarities to other databases, but across the whole list it's unique. Once again, requiring you to look up and say, hey, what type of database am I using? And how do I work on implementing this solution? Once you keep that in mind, and once you understand that, working with databases will be much, much easier for you. With that, I wish you the best of luck in working with databases in your future endeavors, and feel free to check out some of the other videos that we have on this channel that might help you out.